Hello, everybody. Where am I at right now? It's just been a couple of hours since I sent my last message, and as you can see, there's the William back behind me, sitting there just enjoying the peaceful day. And I am here on this little ledge on the cliffs of Santa Cruz on the north end of town. Why did I come here today? Because my Instacart order dropped off right around the corner. So this is my little break spot. Well, it is for the moment. It might not be the same in a couple hours. Who knows? All I know is this is what it's like to live life. To have your backyard wherever you want it to be, wherever you feel safe, comfortable. Do you fear? Here, let me ask you this. Do you fear the idea of being on the edge of the abyss of what is known as the ocean? This is how I am. This is where I stand. This is my freedom. Behind me is the abyss. That tells me I can have anything I want, where I want, when I want, how I want it, because it is my own choosing of my own life, my own freedom, van life. Yeah, every little aspect of me. Yes, the things that I outed myself on in that worst message were very true. Yes, I've always been bisexual, even as a kid. Yes, I've always been into BDSM since the age of 17. Yes, I've experienced a lot. Yes, a lot of you think I'm all fucked up in the head. A lot of my family won't even bother to text me to say hi. I know what love is. I know what love isn't. I know how people treat me. The people that say they love me, I question it. Especially those within my blood. I do. Because you know what? Yeah, I scare the crap out of everybody, but they're not even willing to give me a text to say hi. So I don't worry about that anymore, because that's not my family. The people who are sitting here and they return the love that I give to them, even if I'm in a shit show, that's my family. The people who are there at the end when you are at your worst and you come out alive, they're the ones standing there with a big smile saying, I love you. I don't get that from blood with the exception of my mother. Only my mother, even my niece, unless I am with the way she is, unless I believe what she believes, same thing, no different. That's what life is. Now, over on the other side of this cliff, above here, back up in there, I sat the other night for a good hour, and God was talking to me. God asked me if I was willing to give up my entire life for a thought that He gave me, a thought He gave me in the midst of my hell, a direction for me to go. Would I be willing to stake my life on that thought? And I said, of course I would. And so He directed me out up onto the top of one of these cliffs, called it the Green Mile. I called it the Green Mile because I sat there for a good hour and I was ready to let go of my own life, my own choices, I wanted to go. I've lived a supernatural life where I have been saved by spirits who have gone on. My grandfather, a man by the name of Hector McLean, helped me redo my home in Michigan. A young girl in a cemetery, I stood there while I had a conversation with her. I've had the angel of the man that the van USS William is named after, William Templeton. I've had him stand there and give me directions, and he still follows me. He is a part of my van. He is a part of me. His words ring true. Be brave when you're too scared to speak. Be brave in your finest moments. Be brave when this world is freaking wild and crazy and the journey is insane. Be brave, because that's what this life is all about. So that's where I stand right now. This is where I stand. When I made the choice to accept the dare It was something because I've never been able to even go on a high dive. I've always been scared of everything all my life. I've never been able to accept anything because I always looked at the consequences first and feared everything. That night, he says, "Are you willing to give up your life and risk the thought of going to hell over the thought that I gave you?" I said, "Yes." He said, "Prove it." I sat in this and I looked on this bench, and he showed me a path. I had no idea what was coming on the other side of that path. He just told me to close my eyes and run like hell. This is 11:30 at night. This is what I did. I got up, put my hands out, my arms out like this, and I closed my eyes and I ran. I had no idea if the tide was up. I didn't know if the tide was down. I didn't know if there were rocks below, nothing. All I know is God told me to do it. So I did. And this is where the miracle took place. This is where my life changed. When I did it, I ran, I dived, and I made damn near a perfect dive. I did a little bit of a belly flop, not bad. My body's got a little sore, but it's feeling much better now. But the tide came in just as I did it, and it enveloped me like a hand. I was surrounded by rocks, and when I got to the point of standing up, I realized I was still alive, and he says, "Now you live. This is born again. You repented of who you were. You are now who you are, and I'm going to teach you how to become who you can be. Stop the assumptions, stop the bullshit, stop the worries, stop the self-verdict of guilty, not guilty. Just live life and be." That is where I am. That is what I'm doing. That is the life I wish to create for myself. That's why I'm doing van life. I'm trying to bring all of my passions into one. I'm trying to open myself up to everybody because I've always been afraid. I've always been private. I've always been afraid to say that I might be bisexual because both my brothers were queer, this, faggot, that, everything else. I couldn't say a damn word. Couldn't say nothing. I had to keep it to myself, all because of other people's assumptions of what people are and who they are. They expect you to be a certain way when you're not a certain way, and you're forced to live with it. My very brother, who said, "I don't like homosexuals for this," a very acquaintance of his got me into it when I was maybe 13 or 14 years old. And in all honesty, if he didn't have that acquaintance of somebody that was unknowingly gay in his life, boy, once he figured out the truth, that guy was no longer around. But I thought he was hot, so fuck it. 14 years old, and you see this guy? Yep. Just the same, I also had a beautiful girl on my side too. Girl I grew up with, another one I was very scared of. Yet, she helped me become who I was, to who I am. And she was wild and she was crazy, but she was my best friend growing up. Since I was like 8, she was like 5. Anyway, that's what became of us. I made a mistake of not going out to her in the middle of the night and proposing to her and asking her to spend the rest of her life with me. She chose a different direction because I didn't, and it destroyed her. The choices we make don't impact ourselves. They impact everyone else around us. They impact who those people become because of who we become. They live off of us, our hearts, our fears, our excitement, our passions. You're watching this because you have a passion for whatever it is, being van life, being the ocean, being whatever it may be. That's it. I can't really say more than that. All I know is I felt the spiritual born again experience. Not what man says, not with their fake ass baptismal tubs, not with their you must do it this way and you must do it that way, but in a real way. where I repented of who I was, where I repented of the person I was, repented of my own guilt, repented of my own ways, repented of everything. And God just said, relax, I got this shit. And I dove in after I repented, and I dove into a baptism in the most amazing experience way. Right into the ocean, right into the abyss, not knowing what was going to happen. I just accepted the fate as it was. And here I am today to say, I'm alive. I'm beautiful. God's Spirit created something new in me, and I'm trying to figure out what it is. And the moment everybody quits assuming I'm anything but what I'm telling you, maybe you'll get an understanding what it means to know God, what it means to know life. Because there's no wrong answer in anything. My God is the one I've chose to create. All of you that say I'm doing it the wrong way, up yours. No offense. I'm sorry if you think that's bad, but up yours. Thinking I'm not doing it your way, to think I'm not getting baptized your way, to think I'm not following the scriptures your way. There is no your way. It's just the way. He does it. The answer's right there. Yahweh. Not no way. Yahweh. There you go. There's your answer. It's always yes to God, because we don't do wrong in His eyes. We only do wrong in the eyes of the people that are staring at us, looking at us, judging us, assuming us, everything else. Until you have the true realization of what it truly means to be spiritually born again, without a single man making the decision on how you should live, but according to you and to what you believe to be God, because God can be anything. He doesn't stand judgment. He doesn't stand there looking at you saying you're guilty of fucking anything, because if He thought I was anything less of who I'm supposed to be, then He wouldn't be who He's supposed to be, because that's knocking Him down a peg to say I'm guilty of anything, because that removes His perfection. That is my belief. That is my strength, to know that I am perfect in the eyes of God, no matter what anybody in my family, my friendships, any of you, no matter what you think of me. Yeah, He looks at me in a very different, more beautiful way than any human being has ever done. There's a lot more supernatural experience that took place in all this, and I'm going to get to that over a period of time. And I have a very unique, very, very, very unique, from the age of 5, experiences, testimony, whatever you want to call it. It's very unique, very beautiful, very different. And it all came to a head in the most beautiful way. And it caused me to absolutely look at myself and realize that I can change who I was into who I am. The man Andy, he does no longer exist. He died that night. I'm Tahoe. I named myself after my grandfather, basically because if it wasn't for him, Tahoe wouldn't have existed. And if it wasn't for him dying, I wouldn't be alive, because when he passed away, right after that, I fell out of a van. I fell out of a van, and I don't know how fast we were going, but my whole family was there, including my grandmother. I fell out. I was right in the middle of in front of a car that was about to run me down, and he jumped out of nowhere, grabbed me, and he sent me on my way. He saved my life. He created life for me. He gave up his body to save mine. Not to say that I'm not eternal. I am, but I'm in a human body. And until I shed that body, until He's ready for me to shed that body, or when He's ready for me to get rid of this, what you are physically seeing, He'll do what He needs to do. And I'll accept His decisions. But I'm going to do it free of anybody's judgment, free of anybody's assumptions and guilt. So quit assuming anything about me, that I'm psycho, that I'm whack, that I'm religious, what have you, because none of that is the case. Fact of the matter is, if God told me to jump right here, I'd do it, because He told me to. But He didn't. I ain't. I'm only going His direction. You all just missed the point of what my direction is. That's what I'm trying to teach. I wish everybody the most beautiful life, to find out what it means to stand in front of your abyss It doesn't mean you go and try to commit suicide or anything like that. That isn't even what I was doing. I was just looking for the answer to live. I found it. My life has been weird. It drove me to the edge of insanity. But here I am, a beautiful day, a beautiful creature in the eyes of my God, the one that made me for me, the one that I know in my soul. You have your own. You have your own way. You have your own difference. Bible is nothing more than an illusion, and I'm going to be teaching that too. I believe that it is a reflection of ourselves, and that's what it's been meant to be all along, and everybody has chosen it to make it about somebody else instead of themselves. Everybody looks at Jesus like it's the life of Jesus, not themselves. Everybody looks at God like it's the life of God, not themselves. How? Just read the story of creation and read the story of